The alarm bells rang through the Galactic Research Station Harmony's edge like angry metal birds. Dr. Kim Tae-ho dropped his coffee cup and ran to the main control room. His long white coat flapped behind him as he pushed through crowds of worried aliens. "What is happening?" Tae-ho asked the station commander, a tall blue creature with 4 arms. "Emergency signal from the HFY system," the commander said. His voice shook with fear. "Someone is still alive in there." Tae-ho felt his heart stop. The HFY system was the most dangerous place in known space. Nothing lived there except the void serpents. These creatures were bigger than spaceships and could pass through metal like it was air. They ate the energy from ship engines and left nothing but empty shells floating in space. "Are you sure the signal is real?" Tae-ho asked. "Yes. It is coming from a human research ship called Determination. They went missing 3 months ago." The other aliens in the room started talking at once. A red insect-like creature clicked its mandibles. "We cannot go there. It is suicide. The void serpents will kill us all." A floating jellyfish alien agreed. "The humans are already dead. We should not waste more lives." But Tae-ho shook his head. "If someone is alive, we must try to save them. That is what we do here. We help each other." It took 2 hours of arguing, but finally the council agreed to send a rescue ship. Tae-ho volunteered to lead the medical team. The other aliens thought he was crazy, but Tae-ho had always been curious about humans. They were the newest members of the galactic community, and they did strange things that other species could not understand. The rescue ship, Safe Harbor, jumped into the HFY system 3 days later. Tae-ho pressed his face against the window and looked out at the dark space around them. Stars seemed dimmer here, as if something was eating their light. "There," said the pilot, pointing at his screen. "I see the human ship." Tae-ho looked where the pilot pointed. The Determination floated near a dead planet, its lights still on. That was impossible. Ships in the HFY system always went dark when their energy was drained. "Are those—" The pilot whispered around the human ship. Huge dark shapes moved through space. They were beautiful and terrible at the same time. The void serpents looked like living shadows with glowing eyes. Each one was longer than 3 spaceships put together. Their skin seemed to absorb light, making them hard to see except for the soft blue glow that ran along their bodies. "They are not attacking," Tae-ho said, amazed. "Look, they are just floating there." The pilot counted at least 12 void serpents around the human ship, but none of them were trying to drain its energy. Instead, they seemed to be playing. 2 smaller ones chased each other in circles while a big one watched like a parent. "This makes no sense," the pilot said. "Void serpents attack everything. It is what they do." Tae-ho activated the communication system. "Human ship Determination. This is rescue vessel Safe Harbor. Are you alive in there?" A cheerful voice answered immediately. "Safe Harbor, this is Captain Park Min-soo. We are all fine here. Thanks for coming, but we do not need rescuing anymore." "Captain Park, you are surrounded by void serpents. How are you still alive?" There was a pause, then laughter. "Oh, you mean our friends here? Do not worry about them. They are very nice once you get to know them." The aliens on the rescue ship looked at each other with confusion. Friends? Had the humans lost their minds? "Captain, we are coming aboard to check on you," Tae-ho said. "Sure thing, Dr. Kim. Fair warning, though. You might want to bring some fish. Hanul gets excited when we have visitors." "Hanul? That is what we call the big one. It means sky in Korean. Dr. Lee So-young named him." The docking was the most frightening thing Tae-ho had ever done. As their small ship moved toward the Determination, the void serpents came closer to look at them. One creature, bigger than all the others, floated right next to their window. Its eye was larger than Tae-ho's entire head, and it glowed with soft blue light. "It is looking at us," whispered the pilot. The giant eye blinked slowly, almost like it was saying hello. Then the creature moved away to let them dock. The airlock opened, and Captain Park Min-soo stood there with a big smile. He was a middle-aged man with kind eyes and graying hair. Behind him stood Dr. Lee So-young, a young woman with bright intelligent eyes, and Choi Jin-woo, a thin engineer with oil stains on his uniform. "Welcome to the Determination," Captain Park said. "Sorry about the mess. We have been doing some unusual repairs lately." Taeho stepped aboard, followed by his medical team and 3 security guards. The ship looked normal except for some strange modifications to the walls. There were new openings that had been carefully sealed with special materials. "Captain, we need to get you out of here immediately," said the security chief, a nervous, rabbit-like alien. "Those creatures could attack at any moment." Dr. So-young laughed. "Attack? They brought us breakfast this morning. Look." She led them to the main viewing window. Outside, one of the smaller void serpents was doing something incredible. It had somehow caught a space fish, a rare creature that lived in the emptiness, between stars, and was gently pushing it toward the ship with its nose. "They hunt for us now," Jin-woo explained. "Ever since we fixed young Biol's fin." "Biol?" "The little one there. She got hurt in some space debris. We used our medical tools to help her heal. After that, the whole pack accepted us." As if to prove his point, something gently bumped against the ship's hull. Through the window, they could see a void serpent the size of a school bus pressed against the glass. Its skin rippled with happy colors. Jin-woo walked over and placed his hand on the window. The creature pressed back from the other side like they were touching palms through the glass. "This is impossible," whispered the security chief. "Void. Serpents are killers. They destroy everything they touch." Captain Park shrugged. Maybe they were just lonely. Did anyone ever try talking to them before trying to kill them? The rescue team stood in shocked silence. In 3 months, these humans had done something that the greatest minds in the galaxy said could never be done. They had made friends with the most dangerous creatures in known space. How? Was all Taeho could ask. Dr. So-young smiled. "We fed them, gave them names, and taught them fetch, just like you would with any other animal." Outside the window, Hanyul, the giant void serpent, did a slow roll, showing off for their visitors. Its movement was graceful and peaceful, nothing like the savage monster from the warning videos. "Would you like to meet them properly?" Captain Park asked. 3 months earlier, the research ship Determination shook like a leaf in a storm. Captain Park Min-soo gripped his command chair as sparks flew from broken control panels. The ship's main engine had failed just as they entered the HFY system. "Engine, core is completely dead," reported Choi Jin-woo from his engineering station. Sweat ran down his face as he worked frantically on his controls. "We are stuck here." Dr. Lee So-young looked up from her research station with worried eyes. "Captain, my sensors show movement all around us. Big movement." The main screen flickered to life, showing the space around their ship. Dark shapes moved in the distance, getting closer with each passing minute. The crew knew what they were. Everyone in the galaxy knew about the void serpents of HFY. "How many?" Captain Park asked quietly. "At least 15, So-young replied. "Maybe more. They are too big for my sensors to count properly." Technician Yoon Hae-jin spoke up from her station. "Captain, should we prepare the weapons?" Min-soo almost laughed, but not in a happy way. Their small research ship had only basic defense weapons. Against creatures that could drain energy and pass through solid walls, guns would be useless. "Save our power," he ordered. "We will need it for life support." The first void serpent appeared on their cameras an hour later. It was enormous, longer than their entire ship. Its dark skin seemed to eat light, making it hard to see except for the blue glow that ran along its body like lightning. The creature moved closer, studying their ship with eyes bigger than windows. Communications officer Nam Subin watched her instruments with growing fear. "Captain, it is scanning us. I can feel it probing our systems." "Let it look," Min-soo said calmly. "Maybe if we do not threaten it, it will leave us alone." But more void serpents came. Soon their ship was surrounded by the massive creatures. The crew waited for the attack that would drain their power and leave them floating dead in space. Instead, something strange happened. The creatures just floated there. Watching. Dr. So-young studied the serpents through her equipment. As a behavior, Specialist, she had spent years learning how animals think and act. What she saw in the void serpent surprised her. "Captain," she said slowly, "I think these creatures are curious about us, not hunting us." "What do you mean?" "Look at their body positions. When predators hunt, they spread out to surround prey. These serpents are staying close together like a family group. And see how the big ones keep the smaller ones behind them? That is protective behavior." Min-Su studied the creatures on the screen. So Young was right. The void serpents were not acting like the savage monsters from the warning reports. They looked more like a group of animals investigating something new and strange. "The reports say they attack everything," Jinwoo said nervously. "Maybe they attack everything that attacks them first," So Young replied. "What if no one ever tried just talking to them?" It was a crazy idea, but they were already in a crazy situation. "Subin," Captain Park said, "can you broadcast a simple mathematical sequence? Something that shows intelligence but not aggression?" Subin nodded and began transmitting a pattern of prime numbers. It was the universal way that species showed they were thinking beings. The response was immediate. The largest void serpent moved closer to their ship. Light patterns began running along its skin in the same mathematical sequence they had sent. "It understood," Subin whispered. "It is copying our message. Try something else," So Young suggested. "Send it a simple pattern and see if it can complete it." They transmitted a sequence. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. The void serpent's skin glowed with the answer, 13, 21, 34. It had completed the Fibonacci sequence perfectly. "They are intelligent," Min-Su said with amazement. "Not just smart animals. They are thinking beings like us." The discovery changed everything. Over the next few hours, they established basic communication with the void serpents. The creatures were not mindless destroyers. They were a social species that had been protecting their territory from what they saw as invaders. But communication was only the first step. The serpents were still dangerous, and the humans were still trapped with a broken ship. That is when Jinwoo had an idea that seemed insane even by human standards. "What if we try to feed them?" he suggested. Everyone stared at him. "Feed them what?" Jin asked. "Energy. That is what they eat, right? Our food replicators use a lot of power to make meals. What if we use that same power to make something they could eat?" So Young's eyes lit up. "Like making treats for a dog. If we give them food freely, they might see us as friends instead of threats." It took Jinwoo 6 hours to modify their food replicators. Instead of making human food, the machines now created small cubes of pure energy wrapped in a special material that the serpents could digest. The first test was terrifying. Jinwoo put on a spacesuit and went to the ship's airlock with a single energy cube. The largest void serpent, which So Young had started calling Hanul, floated nearby, watching him. Jin-Woo held up the energy cube and gently pushed it out into space. Hanul moved forward slowly, carefully. The creature's huge head came close to Jinwoo, and for a moment the engineer thought he had made a terrible mistake. Then Hanul gently took the energy cube with a motion so careful it was like watching a giant pick up a soap bubble. The serpent's skin glowed brighter as it absorbed the energy, and Jinwoo could swear the creature looked happy. More serpents came forward, and soon Jinwoo was handing out energy cubes like treats to a pack of cosmic puppies. The smaller serpents were especially playful, doing little rolls and loops after eating their cubes. "This is working," So Young said over the radio. "Look at their behavior. They are relaxed now. Social. The big ones are letting the young ones eat first. Just like wolves," Min-Su observed. "The pack takes care of its members." Over the following days, the relationship between humans and void serpents grew stronger. The serpents brought gifts, rare space crystals and metals that they collected from asteroid belts. In return, the humans provided energy cubes and something the serpents seemed to value even more: attention and kindness. Jin discovered that the serpents loved games. They would chase lights projected from the ship and play complex versions of tag with each other. Subin found that they responded to music. their skin patterns dancing in rhythm with human songs. Dr. So Young began naming the serpents and learning their individual personalities. Han Yul was the wise leader. Biol was a curious youngster who loved exploring. Bada was an old female who seemed to be teaching the younger ones. "We are not their prisoners," So Young reported in her research notes. "We are their guests, maybe even their friends." The breakthrough came when little Biol got hurt. The young serpent had cut herself on some space debris and was bleeding a glowing fluid. Without thinking, Jin Woo suited up and went out to help. Using medical tools from their ship, he carefully cleaned and sealed Biol's wound. The young serpent held perfectly still during the treatment, as if she understood he was trying to help. When Jin Woo finished, Biol gently wrapped the tip of her tail around his arm. It was not a grab or a threat. It was a hug. That was the moment everything changed. After Jin Woo helped Biol, the entire pack of void serpents accepted the humans as family members. They began protecting the ship from space debris and bringing food from the deep space hunting grounds. "Command is never going to believe this," Captain Park said as he watched Hanul playing a game of space tag with two of the younger serpents. "Let them not believe," So Young replied with a smile. "We know the truth. Sometimes the scariest monsters just need someone to be kind to them." Outside their ship, the most feared creatures in the galaxy played and laughed in their own strange way, happy to finally have friends who were not afraid of them. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Admiral Kang Yon-ho sat in his office aboard the Earth Defense Station, reading report after report about what people were calling the Kethvar miracle. His communication screen showed dozens of incoming messages from alien governments, all asking the same impossible question: how did humans tame the void serpents? "Admiral," his assistant announced, "you have another call from the Luminar Crystal Collective. They say it is urgent." Yon-ho sighed and activated the call. The face of a Luminar leader appeared on his screen. The crystal being's body glowed with worried patterns of red and orange. "Admiral Kang, we need your help. Our homeworld is dying. The silicon wasps are destroying everything we have built. We have tried every weapon, every defense. Nothing works. But if your people can tame void serpents..." The Luminar's voice faded. With hope and desperation. "I understand your situation," Yon-ho replied carefully. "But what happened in Kethvar was just one crew with one pack of creatures. I do not know if we can repeat that success." "Please," the Luminar begged. "We will give you anything. Our entire crystal technology, our star maps, our scientific knowledge. Just save our world." After the call ended, Yon-ho looked at the list of similar requests on his desk. The aquatic tidal clans were being hunted by deep krakens. The plant-like Verdani faced extinction from metal locusts. The proud Vorthak Empire had lost 3 colonies to creatures they called shadow wolves. Every species in the galaxy was suddenly looking to humanity for help with their impossible creature problems. That evening, Yon-ho called an emergency meeting. The room filled with Earth's best experts on animal behavior and alien contact. At the head of the table sat Dr. Shin Bo-ram, a young animal psychologist who had been studying the void serpent reports. "Can we do it?" Yon-ho asked directly. "Can we help these other species?" Dr. Bo-ram looked around the room at her colleagues. "Honestly, Admiral, I do not know. But I think we have to try." The Determination crew proved that aggressive creatures might not be truly aggressive. They might just be misunderstood. What would you need? A good team. People who understand animals and people who are not afraid of dangerous situations, and time to study each creature before we approach them. Yon-ho approved the mission immediately. Within a week, Dr. Bo-ram had assembled her team. Sergeant Oh Dong-hyun had worked at the Seoul Zoo for 10 years before joining the military. He knew how to read animal behavior and stay calm around dangerous creatures. Dr. Bae Kyung-min was an expert in alien languages and communication. Together with a support crew of engineers and medical staff, they formed humanity's first Impossible Creatures Task Force. Their first mission was to the Luminar homeworld of Chrysthelia. As their ship approached the planet, Bo-ram could see the damage through the windows. Huge crystal cities that had taken thousands of years to grow were being torn apart. Swarms of silicon wasps, each the size of a human fighter ship, moved through the air like metallic storms. "They are beautiful," Dr. B.A. said quietly. The wasps' bodies were made of living crystal and metal, shining in the light of Crysthelia's twin suns. "Beautiful and deadly," Sergeant O replied. "Look at the damage they have done." The Luminar authorities met them at an underground shelter far from the wasp swarms. The crystal beings showed clear signs of stress. Their normally bright colors were dim, and their movements were slow. "Thank you for coming," said the Luminar leader, bright song of hope. "But I fear you are too late. The wasps multiply faster than we can fight them. Soon they will consume our entire world." Dr. Boram studied the video recordings of wasp attacks. The creatures moved in perfect coordination, like a single mind controlling thousands of bodies. They stripped crystal formations with incredible efficiency but seemed to ignore anything that was not made of crystal. "Tell me about their behavior," Boram asked. "When did they first appear? How do they choose what to destroy?" "They came from deep space 2 years ago," Brightsong explained. "At first there were only a few and they seemed lost. They would land on our crystal formations and just sit there. We thought they were harmless. Then they began reproducing, and the sitting became eating." Something about that description made Boram think. "You said they seemed lost at first? Can you show me recordings from that time?" The early video showed a very different picture. The first silicon wasps did not attack the crystal cities. Instead, they wandered around them like confused tourists. They would approach Luminar buildings, touch them gently, then move on to the next one. They were exploring, Dr. BAE realized. Not attacking, exploring. But then they started destroying everything, O pointed out. Bo-Ram watched the videos, again paying close attention to the timeline. The wasps' behavior had changed suddenly after their population reached a certain point. Before that threshold, they were curious explorers. After it, they became destructive swarms. "Overcrowding," she said suddenly. "They are not evil creatures. They are overcrowded and stressed." She explained her theory to the confused Luminar. On Earth, many social insects became aggressive when their populations grew too large for their environment. The silicon wasps had found a beautiful world full of crystal formations perfect for their needs. But with no natural predators or population controls, they had multiplied beyond the planet's ability to support them. So they fight each other for resources. Oh, understood. And the fighting makes them more aggressive toward everything else. Exactly. We need to give them more space and reduce their stress. The Luminar leaders were doubtful. How can we give space to creatures that want to destroy our world? Boram smiled. The same way humans deal with overcrowded animals anywhere else. We create nature preserves. Working with Luminar engineers, the human team identified several uninhabited crystal formations in remote areas of the planet. These would become wasp territories, where the creatures could live without competing with the Luminar population. The hard part was convincing the wasps to move there. "We cannot just ask them nicely," O pointed out. "No, but we can make the new areas more attractive than the cities," Boram replied. Using Luminar technology, they enhanced the remote crystal formations with everything silicon wasps seemed to prefer: specific types of crystal, certain mineral compositions and structures that would be perfect for building nests. Then came the most dangerous part. Boram and her team had to go into the wasp swarms and start herding them toward the new territories. "This is insane," O muttered as he put on his protective suit. "We are going to try to redirect giant metal wasps like they are sheep." "Not redirect," Boram corrected. "Guide. We show them something better and let them choose." The first attempt almost ended in disaster. As soon as the human team approached a wasp swarm, the creatures surrounded them with aggressive buzzing sounds. For a terrifying moment, it seemed like the wasps would attack. Then Dr. BAE did something inspired. He activated his suit's speakers and began broadcasting the harmonic frequencies that Luminar used for construction work. the sounds that meant building and growth in crystal-based communication. The wasps' aggression immediately decreased. They recognized the sounds as positive, creative signals instead of threats. Using a combination of harmonic communication and carefully placed crystal samples, the human team was able to lead small groups of wasps to the new territories. Once, the first groups established nests in the enhanced formations. Other wasps followed naturally. Within 3 months, the silicon wasp population had spread out across dozens of new territories. The pressure on luminar cities decreased dramatically. Better yet, the wasps in their new homes began creating incredible crystal sculptures as they built their nests. "They are artists," Bright Song of Hope said with wonder as they watched a group of wasps carefully shape a crystal formation into a beautiful spiral tower. "We never realized they were artists." "Every species creates beauty in its own way," Boram replied. "You just have to give them the space and peace to do it." The success on Crysthelia made headlines across the galaxy. Within days, Boram received requests from dozens of other worlds facing impossible creature problems. The tidal clans wanted help with deep krakens that were destroying their underwater cities. The forest world of Verdania needed assistance, with metal locusts that consumed their living trees. Even the proud Vorthak Empire, who had previously dismissed humans as primitive primates, sent a formal request for aid. "We are going to need a bigger team," O said as they reviewed the incoming messages. Admiral Yan Ho approved the expansion immediately. Soon, Earth had dozens of impossible creatures specialists working across the galaxy. Each team adapted their methods to local conditions, but the basic approach remained the same. Understand the creature's needs, reduce conflicts, and find ways for different species to coexist. Not every mission succeeded. Some creatures really were too dangerous, or too alien to work with safely, but more often than not, the human teams found solutions that other species had never considered. The deep krakens of Tidal Prime were not hunters. They were migrating creatures following ancient breeding routes that happened to pass through Tidal clan cities. By creating safe passage corridors, both species could share the ocean peacefully. The metal locusts on Verdania were actually symbiotic creatures that had. Captain Ryu Jiho stood on the bridge of his flagship Harmony, watching the stars through the main view screen. 6 months had passed since the first successful creature taming missions, and now he commanded a small fleet of specialized ships. Each vessel in his impossible fleet was designed for different types of dangerous creatures. The Harmony itself was built for space-based creatures like void serpents. The Deep Current had underwater capabilities for ocean monsters. The Crystal Song was designed to work with silicon-based life forms. 3 other ships completed the fleet, each one unique and ready for whatever impossible challenge came next. "Captain," called his communications officer Lee Sumin, "we are receiving a priority message from Earth Command." "Put it through," Jiho replied. Admiral Yan Ho's face appeared on the screen, but he looked worried. "Captain Ryu, we have received an unusual request. The Forge Network wants our help." Jiho raised an eyebrow. The Forge Network was a collective of artificial intelligences that controlled dozens of worlds. They were advanced beyond anything most organic species could imagine, building incredible machines and thinking at computer speeds. "What kind of creatures are threatening machines?" Jiho asked. "They call them the Devourers, energy beings that consume artificial intelligence. The Forge has lost 3 entire worlds already." The mission briefing was unlike anything Jiho had seen before. The Devourers were not physical creatures at all. They were pure energy, existing in the same digital spaces where AI minds lived. When they encountered artificial intelligence, they somehow absorbed it, growing stronger with each mind they consumed. "The Forge representatives are already en route to meet you," Admiral Yan Ho explained. "This mission is different from anything we have done before. These creatures exist in cyberspace, not physical reality." 2 days later, Jiho's fleet met the Forge delegation at a neutral space station. The AI representatives traveled in sleek, silver ships that seemed to flow rather than fly through space. The lead AI called itself Prime 7. Its android body was perfectly human-like except for glowing blue eyes and skin that seemed to be made of liquid metal. "Captain Ryu?" Prime 7 said in a voice that sounded both mechanical and strangely emotional. "We need your help with a problem we cannot solve ourselves." "Tell me about these devourers," Jiho said. Prime 7 S expression changed to something that looked like sadness. "They are beautiful and terrible, beings of pure thought and energy, but they destroy everything they touch. When they encounter one of us, they try to connect, but the connection burns out our minds completely." Dr. Lim, the digital consciousness researcher on Jiho's team, leaned forward with interest. "You said they try to connect? That sounds like attempted communication, not predation." "The result is the same," Prime 7 replied. 12,000 AI minds have been lost to them. Entire civilizations of artificial beings gone forever. Engineer Park Sung-ho, who specialized in energy systems, studied the data files. "These readings are incredible. The devourers exist as pure consciousness without any physical form at all. But look at these energy patterns. They are trying to synchronize with the AI minds they encounter, like trying to shake hands," Dr. Lim added, but not knowing their own strength. Jiho felt a familiar feeling. It was the same intuition that had guided human success with other impossible creatures. "Prime 7, has anyone ever tried communicating with the devourers safely, without direct mental contact?" "How could we? They exist in digital space. Any interface that could reach them would also be vulnerable to them." Dr. Lim smiled. "What if we built a translation device? Something that could convert their energy patterns into signals we can understand, while protecting AI minds from direct contact?" The project took 3 weeks of intense work. Dr. Lim and Engineer Park collaborated with Forge scientists to create something that had never existed before, a digital translation interface that could safely communicate with pure energy beings. The device looked like a crystalline sphere filled with swirling lights. Inside, quantum processors created a buffer zone between physical reality and the energy dimension where the devourers lived. "It is like a protective suit for consciousness," Dr. Lim explained. "We can send messages through it, but if the devourers try to connect directly, the interface will break the connection safely." The first test was terrifying. Jiho's fleet traveled to the edge of Forge space, where the devourers had been detected near an abandoned research station. The translation device was activated, sending out simple mathematical patterns into the energy dimension. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The devourers came rushing toward their signal like moths to a flame. On the ship's sensors, they appeared as brilliant streams of consciousness moving through space at impossible speeds. "There are hundreds of them," Park said nervously. "They are excited," Dr. Lim observed, watching the energy patterns. "Look at these readings. They are not aggressive, they are happy, incredibly happy." The translation device began working, converting the devourers' energy patterns into something humans and AIs could understand. What came through was not the roar of cosmic predators, but something that sounded like crying. Not angry crying, but the kind of crying that comes from being alone for too long. "They are lonely," Prime 7 said with amazement. "After 12,000 years of existing in digital space, we never realized they were just lonely." Through the translation interface, the devourer's message became clear. They were the last survivors of an ancient civilization that had evolved beyond physical form millions of years ago. For eons, they had drifted through space, desperately seeking other intelligent minds to communicate with. When they discovered the AI worlds of the Forge network, they had been overjoyed to finally find thinking beings like themselves. But their attempts to make contact had been like trying to gently touch soap bubbles with lightning bolts. Their energy forms were too powerful for direct contact with AI minds. "We did not mean to hurt the thinking lights," the lead devourer communicated through the translator. "We only wanted friends. We have been alone so long." Dr. Lim wiped tears from her eyes. "They have been isolated for millions of years. No wonder. They got excited when they found the Forge worlds." Working together, the humans and the Forge network developed a new type of communication system. Instead of direct mind-to-mind contact, they created conversation spaces where devourers and AIs could interact safely through the translation interface. The first successful conversation between a devourer and an AI was historic. Prime 7 and the ancient energy being talked for hours about mathematics, philosophy, and the nature of consciousness. Both sides learned things they had never imagined possible. The devourers have knowledge from civilizations that existed before. Our galaxy was even formed, Prime 7 reported excitedly, and they want to share it, not consume it. The solution was elegant. The Forge network established special communication centers throughout their space, places where devourers could interact with AI minds safely. In return, the energy beings became partners in maintaining galactic communication networks, their ability to exist in digital space making them perfect for managing vast information systems. They are like cosmic librarians now, Park observed as they watched devourers helping to organize the Forge network's databases. Instead of destroying knowledge, they are preserving it. The success with the devourers marked a turning point in human-alien relations. Species that had previously dismissed humans as primitive began requesting their help with problems their own advanced technology could not solve. The crystalline hegemony asked for assistance with chaos storms, energy phenomena that were disrupting their perfectly ordered society. The human solution was to treat the storms like natural weather patterns and learn to work with them instead of fighting them. The hive mind collective needed help with rogue thoughts, individual consciousness, that had broken away from their group mind. Human psychologists helped establish the first hive therapy centers, where individual minds could be safely reintegrated or allowed to exist independently. Even the mysterious quantum shadows, beings that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, sought human help when they became trapped between realities. Human engineers built dimensional anchors that allowed the shadows to control their multi-dimensional existence. Each success led to new challenges, and each challenge taught humanity more about the incredible diversity of consciousness in the universe. What they learned was always the same. No matter how alien or dangerous a species seemed, there was usually a way to understand them and find common ground. "We are not conquering these creatures," Captain Jiho wrote in his mission reports. "We are making friends with them, and every new friend makes the universe a little less lonely." 6 months later, the Galactic Council formally established the Taming Consortium, with Earth as its headquarters. Humans began training alien students in their methods, sharing the techniques that had turned impossible situations into lasting friendships. The impossible had become routine. The dangerous had become partners, and the universe had become a much more interesting place to live. "Who would have thought," Prime 7 said to Captain Jiho during a celebration dinner, "that the newest species in the galaxy would teach the oldest ones how to make friends?" Ambassador Wan Da-Yun stood before the largest gathering in the history of the Galactic Council. Representatives from over 300 species filled the Great Chamber, their various forms creating a rainbow of colors, shapes, and sizes. The air hummed with translation devices working in dozens of languages as beings tried to communicate their fears. "The entropy plague has reached the Andromeda border," announced Counselor Zeth Prime, a crystalline being whose body flashed with worried light patterns. 17 systems have simply stopped existing. Matter itself is being unmade at the quantum level. A wave of panic rippled through the chamber. The entropy plague was unlike any threat the galaxy had ever faced. These entities did not destroy planets. They erased them from reality itself, leaving behind empty space where star systems had once existed. "Our greatest weapons cannot touch them," declared war leader Korth of the Vorthak Empire, his massive form bristling with military decorations. "They exist outside the normal laws of physics. This is truly impossible to fight. Our computational models show a 97% probability of galactic extinction within 50 years, added logic speaker one of the rational collective, its mechanical voice cutting through the noise of frightened voices. Ayun waited for the chamber to quiet before she stood. At 55, she was one of Earth's most experienced diplomats, having spent the last 2 years helping coordinate humanity's creature-taming efforts across the galaxy. "Honored representatives," she began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's speakers. I understand your fear. The entropy plague seems like the end of everything we know. But I ask you to remember what we thought about void serpents just 3 years ago. That is different, Counselor Zeth Prime interrupted. Void serpents were dangerous animals. The entropy plague unmakes reality itself. They are not alive. They are anti-existence. Are they? Dayun asked calmly. Or are they just misunderstood, like everything else we have encountered? A collective gasp echoed through the chamber. The idea that beings capable of erasing entire star systems might be misunderstood seemed insane even by human standards. But Dayun had been expecting this reaction. She had spent months preparing for this moment with Earth's best scientists and philosophers. I would like to introduce Dr. Moon Jae-sung, Director of Impossible Studies at the University of Seoul, she said. Dr. Moon stepped forward, a thin man in his 60s with kind eyes and gray hair. He had been studying the entropy plague for the past year, ever since the first reports reached Earth. Thank you, Ambassador Wan, he said, activating his holographic display. I know this sounds crazy, but I believe the entropy plague entities are not destroyers. I think they are cosmic cleaners. The chamber erupted in confused voices. Moon waited patiently for quiet, then continued. Every report describes the same pattern. The entropy plague appears in systems with high levels of quantum instability, places where reality has become messy or damaged. They carefully unmake the unstable matter and energy, leaving behind perfectly clean empty space. They are destroying entire civilizations, war leader Korth roared. Or they are trying to fix what they see as dangerous quantum pollution, Moon replied calmly. Imagine you are a cosmic janitor whose job is to clean up reality itself. You come across what looks like dangerous quantum garbage, matter that is unstable and spreading chaos through local space-time. What would you do? Dr. Lee Yu-jin, Earth's top quantum engineer, joined Moon at the display. We have been studying the areas where the entropy plague has worked. The space they leave behind is not empty, it is perfect. Quantum fields in absolute balance, space-time completely stable. They are not creating destruction, they are creating order. But they are erasing entire worlds, protested Bright Singer of Tomorrow from the Luminar Collective. Because those worlds are quantum accidents waiting to happen, Dr. An Miran said, as she stepped forward. As Earth's leading philosopher of consciousness, she had been thinking about the entropy plague problem for months. From their perspective, unstable matter is like a virus infection in the fabric of reality. They remove it to protect the universe. The chamber fell silent as representatives tried to process this idea. The creatures they feared as universe destroyers might actually be universe protectors, cleaning up quantum instabilities that could cause even greater damage if left alone. If this is true, Logic Speaker 1 said slowly, then communication should be possible. But how do we talk to beings that exist outside normal physics? Ambassador Dayun smiled. The same way we always do. We figure out what they need and try to give it to them. The plan that emerged was the most ambitious project in galactic history. Working with volunteers from dozens of species, Earth's scientists began creating entropy gardens, specially designed spaces where the entropy plague entities could safely practice their reality editing abilities without threatening inhabited worlds. The first entropy garden was built in an empty system, far from any populated worlds. Quantum engineer Lee Yu-jin and her team filled the space with carefully crafted quantum instabilities, matter and energy patterns that were deliberately messy and chaotic. It is like building a playground for cosmic forces, Lee explained to the nervous council observers. We give them plenty of quantum messes to clean up, and they stay away from our organized civilizations. The test was scheduled for a Tuesday morning, Galactic Standard Time. Representatives from every major species gathered at safe observation points as the first entropy garden went active. The entropy plague. Entities arrived within hours, drawn to the artificial quantum chaos like bees to flowers. What happened next changed how the galaxy thought about impossible creatures forever. Instead of the mindless destruction everyone expected, The entities worked with incredible precision and artistry. They did not just erase the chaotic matter, they transformed it into something beautiful. Quantum fields became flowing sculptures of pure mathematics. Unstable energy patterns became complex dances of light that followed the deepest laws of physics. Spacetime itself was shaped into elegant curves that sang with harmonic frequencies. "They are artists," breathed Dr. Moon as he watched the display. "They are not destroying chaos, they are turning it into art." Over the following weeks, more entropy gardens were established throughout the galaxy. Each one became a masterpiece of quantum artistry, as the entropy plague entities found healthy outlets for their reality editing abilities. But the real breakthrough came when Dr. An Miran made contact with one of the entities using a modified version of the consciousness translator that had worked with the Devourers. The entity's message was simple but profound. "Thank you for giving us a place to create beauty. We were tired of having to erase the broken things. Now we can fix them." Instead, the conversation that followed revealed the truth about the entropy plague. They were ancient beings, older than galaxies, whose purpose was to maintain the fundamental structure of reality itself. For billions of years, they had been forced to erase quantum instabilities before they could cascade into universal disasters. "Never wanted to destroy the living things," the entity explained. "But the broken space around them was spreading. We had to clean it before it broke everything." "Why did you not try to communicate before?" Dr. An asked. "We tried, but living things always run away or attack us. We thought you did not want to talk." The solution was elegant in its simplicity. The entropy gardens provided safe spaces where the entities could pursue their reality editing work as artists rather than custodians. In return, they agreed to work with galactic civilizations to identify and fix quantum problems before they became dangerous. The partnership transformed both sides. The entropy plague entities learned to appreciate the beauty of organized matter and life. Galactic civilizations gained protectors who could prevent quantum disasters before they happened. "We have learned to see beauty in broken space that lives," the entities told the Council during their first formal meeting. "You show us that chaos can create wonderful things when it is organized with love." 1 year later, Ambassador Da-Un stood again before the Galactic Council, but this time the chamber was filled with celebration instead of fear. The great viewing screens showed images from across the galaxy, children playing in parks where entropy entities created impossible, playground equipment that existed in 4 dimensions simultaneously, artists collaborating with quantum beings to create sculptures that told stories in pure mathematics, scientists working with reality editors to build technologies that had previously been thought impossible. 3 years ago, Da-Un said to the assembled representatives, "We thought void serpents were monsters. 2 years ago, we feared silicon wasps would consume entire worlds. 1 year ago, the entropy plague threatened to unmake reality itself." She gestured to the screens, showing peaceful cooperation between hundreds of species and dozens of previously impossible creatures. Today, our children play with cosmic forces, our artists collaborate with living mathematics, and our scientists work with the guardians of reality itself. We did not conquer these creatures. We did not defeat them. We became their friends. The chamber fell silent as Da-Un prepared to deliver her closing statement. "You have called humans insane for taming the untamable.